Hello and welcome to another episode of Alan Writes. This is episode 23 of The Winter of Truth. That isn't episode 23 of The Winter of Truth, and I've got that wrong. Regardless of what episode it happens to be, we have reached a point where it's a bit of a switchover. Finara is now going to be interrogated in full, not just simply peripherally, by the ISB agent, and we are going to, because I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the interrogation. I feel it would distract from there to know what they're doing to her in this particular thing, and it's generally non-invasive because again, as you go, you scale up the interrogations. You make it worse and worse and worse. You don't start with you don't throw them off the deep end, so to speak, and expect to then get more out of them than that one big push. And that will probably be a dishonest push if you're using violence or waterboarding is a good one for that. Because the nastier you start out with, you can't ramp up to that. And to be honest, you can break most people or convince them to tell you things simply by relying on the fact that humans are social creatures and that we take a lot of our cues from other people around us. And when there's enough pressure applied, and if it's constant enough, then people will just tell you stuff. Police officers use this technique all the time, and it works on all but the most hardened of criminals. And of course, the ISB agent being trained in interrogation would know this, and since Finara is not a hardened criminal, or is presumably a hardened rebel, he's going to scale things up. It's just that the what comes after is going to be kind of a blur, and the week was a blur. The days blurred. Days blurred together. Pain, hunger, thirst, pain, sleep, wanting to sleep, sleep and being denied, being woken at all hours, and several syringes, made certain of that. What would be the first thing she'd lose? Fourth, the sense of self. She forgot about what she'd forgot about. No, she didn't forget. The days blurred together. Blurred, buried together. It's certain of that. For long, she had to repeat her name to herself to keep from forgetting it entirely. All the while, Randul kept asking her the same damn questions over and over. Variation. He wanted to hear her tell it over and over, asking about little details every time that she couldn't remember and started just making up to get him to stop. Eventually, he went away. They kept the lights on in her cell. No pillow, no blankets. No blankets. Just her and the just her in the corner. As she tried to doze, knowing that as she tried to doze, knowing that they'd waken her before she slipped in deep. The door opened. I don't know anything. She screamed out. What have you done? A voice from another life asked. The standard interrogation of all priority standard interrogation of all priority subjects. Randall stated. And she is. And she is a priority. The rebels continue to elude us. That's your affair. Mine involves the tools to see your operation through. The old voice answered. A figure stepped inside. He was graying, but his uniform was white. She knew him. Talak? She asked. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. It's me. He replied. Can you walk? Where? Away from here. Away from here. Home? She asked, hoping beyond hope was all over. Just as soon as we get you to the shuttle. He replied. There's still a question of Randul began to say. Enough. You've had 15 days. You've had 15 days interrogation. Either she's innocent, or your failure. Which is it, Agent? Mandul reply. Both of, as she her feet. I'm going home, she told them, and tried to smile. And tried to smile. The journey was just as much of a blur as the time that came before it. Warmer, though, and then there was a long black sleep. When she woke, she was in, where would they have taken her? A hospital. She was in, she smelled the stringent ammonia, the stringent, let's assume they use UV rays to sweep things because, you know, whatever. Stringent ammonia and ozone of a hospital. The bed was warm. It was, and it ended with a long black sleep. The bed was warm. Yes, warm. She remembered the word for the feeling of luxury. For that feeling of luxury. Her hands were wrapped up tight though. Her were bound up tight though. Tight. Alright, I'm going to give her some frostbite. Terrible thing, frostbite. Nearby, white container that dripped with condensation. Condensation. Cool water inside. It's washed. She picked it when she picked it up. And was cool, pleasantly so, to the touch. Water, fresh water. Right inside, she drank it all down in one long gulp before they could take it away from her. Now, Now, if she could find something to eat. All right. Okay. We're going places with this, and I like it. She's going to suffer some scars. I think she's going to be missing a foot, which is going to become her ass-kicking foot. Now, if she could find something to eat. Went to get up, and her right leg came out from under her. She hit the ground. She hit the ground. Didn't bother to yell. That never helped. Her arms wobbled as she pushed herself upright and fell over again. Her right leg just didn't want to be. It was gone. Missing from the thigh. Missing. Missing entirely. Missing. Cut at the waist, where a backed bandage lay. She started screaming. She started screaming then. Because whether it helped or not, she had to let it all out. Yeah, I'm taking her whole leg. Leg, and that's Telluck's idea. Could have gone knee down, but easier to just work from the hip and lower. Your consent is needed for the cybernetic portion. Must be awake for that. The signature. Courtyards will take care of it. Take care of that as it occurred as a result of your work. Two white droids came. The one with blue optics waved its hands out. Oh, please don't scream. It worries the other patients. She paused for breath and sense and droids. So simple a creature. Droids, medical droids. The orderly series, model 754. Root commands do no harm. Do no harm. If there was anyone she could trust right now. My leg, she said and pointed. It is missing. The droid replied. Let us help you back into bed. They did just that before she could protest. The warmth of the covers was reassuring. But the chill of the floor lingered. What happened? What happened to my leg? Disposed of. Why? Gangrene. Gangrene. From frostbite, Droid said. Would you like to review your chart? That is your right. Yes, please. Minar replied. Can I get something to eat? It wouldn't hurt to ask. Wouldn't hurt to ask. And she'd plead if necessary. What would you like? Anything. Our menu is randomized selection. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Randomized selection. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Orderly droid. Dinner. Meat. Randomize. Anything. Lunch, dinner, meat. Kind of meat? Randomize. Sides? Randomize all. Just bring it. Just bring it. She said. As you wish. Droid said and withdrew, leaving the other to stand before her. From its optics poured out graphic medical file. Hers, apparently, judging from the name. She forced herself to concentrate, to read what they'd done. Frostbite therapy for her hands. They'd saved her left foot, but the right was too far gone. They'd planned to cut it off at above the knee. But had chosen to take it to the hip. There were tabs about future surgeries, cybernetics, cybernetic leg, a cybernetic leg, a cybernetic leg. What do we call that? Geez, I should know this right off the top of my head. It's what happens when you do therapy, when you do recovery, when you do what is it called? Physical therapy. Well, that wasn't so hard now, was it? Physical therapy, recovery, all signed, waiting to be signed off on. I don't make enough. The costs were impressive. I don't make enough to cover this. You are insured. The other droid. Quit yards. Kuwait yards. Full coverage. You are a special patient. You are a special patient. Finara. Is a joy to... Yeah. Wonderful. I feel the love. She replied. And the optics and waved away the files. The droid adjusted, and its bright blue optics faded to a steely hue. You can go now. As always, your dinner will be here shortly. You can go now. And withdrew. And withdrew in measured steps. Then that cell thought. But then Finara thought. Better than... Oh heavens. What happened? What happened? 1 minute I was... Who was that agent who... Randy Randul. Then Telek and had no idea what was going on anymore. Her leg was gone. She was except that she was going to get a new leg. She was going to get a new leg, apparently. Telok and the droid returned with a tray. It smelled wonderful and terrible. Dorgothian beef slices with creamed cheese, curds, and orange sauce that deserved noodles. And a light ale of some kind. Burbled like seltzer. That's what I get for ordering something itemized. At least it should all be edible. You know what? Something smelled wonderful. Terrible. A figure filled the doorway. Telok with a tray. He smiled as he swept inside and set it before her. You've got an appetite, Telok said. We were worried. Who's we? Asked. And considered the cooking fork. Considered the eating fork. She slid it up her sleeve. Would he? Didn't matter. She hid it. Didn't matter. Bad thoughts. Yards. And myself. Mostly myself. He said. Took a seat opposite her. Myself. Mostly myself. They've terminated your employment. They've terminated your employment. All right. shifted her remaining leg. I expected that. I expected that. I'll cover the leg because it was lost during work. What could be defined as work. Nice of them. Corporations are not nice. They are not anything but a means of making profit for those with an interest in it. Didn't. Well, I serve the Empire. Well, I serve the Empire. We don't have a profit motive. Telek replied. Which was very good for you. Which saved your life. Life, by the way. You or the Empire? Both, he said. Intervened because, well, I had wanted to have this conversation. I wanted to have this conversation after your full recovery. But I can see that they didn't break you. They didn't break you. The ISB, they were overly zealous. They were overly zealous. Their approach. It won't hurt them, but it is also unlikely to harm you. It won't take my other leg? She asked, and kept having to force herself to not eat, not gorge on a slowly cooling dinner. So long as you have a steady patron, you have no worries. Patron? Me, of course. Me, of course. You've shown yourself to be resourceful and lucky. I have a need for both. Alright. Telek informs her of the politics, wants to know what she found with the AT-ATs, the Army cover-up. The Navy is always looking for ammo. The troopers too, in this matter. ISB is a problem, but not if we in a loyal manner where they can see. Not if we, but not if we, that's being a problem, but not if we act subtly. They can't see. Understood? This will bring us into a part where she's going to have a realization about how things really are and how much she's been missing and how much she has failed to see the grand design of that the Empire is and the flaws therein. And upon seeing the flaws and being an engineer, she will want to fix them in some way, even if that means taking things apart to start at the beginning. I don't know if she's going to go that route, but we'll see. I had the feeling that her course is going to be a shallow and subtle one as she gains experience and has to now navigate what's coming up. Because once she's free and able to recover, she's going to be approached by the rebels, and they're going to ask her to do a thing. Because otherwise, they'll turn her over to the ISB with evidence that she's a rebel. Because that's the way good blackmail works. You have something on somebody, and they know that the consequences for you revealing that is dire. It's more so than just a bad reputation. It's dire. Anyway, this has been Alan Wright's The Winter of Truth, whatever episode it happens to be. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a good and happy Saturday, as I intend to, at least try. So stay safe out there. Thanks.